Greetings, dear colleagues. Today is the 148th day of the heroic resistance of Ukraine. This is Natalia Stareprova, and we continue the series of briefings in the Media Center Ukraine. Today we have here Dmytro Natalukha, member of the Parliament of Ukraine, the chair of the Economic Development Committee at Verkhovna Rada, Ukraine's parliament. Mr. Natalukha, after the Lugano conference, what are the agreements? What are the plans for the economic recovery of Ukraine? Greetings. I'm sorry, the sound was just on. Could you please repeat the questions? Couldn't hear. The question is, what are the aftermath of the Lugano conference? What are the agreements? What is the plan for the Ukraine economy's recovery? Thank you for the question. So, in Lugano, we understood that we need to balance out the communications with our institutional and financial donors. We had one vision, the government had a different one on the recovery, but it turned out in the process of the presentation that the world's a bank has their own vision. It's not bad. It just means that we need to balance out and to coordinate all of the visions of all of the stakeholders, and it gives us more opportunities and chances to actually receive that direct help from the international bodies to Ukraine soon enough. Also, some certain principles were defined, and they will be the foundation for further steps. That's a positive sign, and it was greeted by our international partners and international financial bodies and institutions. I think what we wanted and what we would have benefited more, we lacked some business representatives and some representatives of business associations, basically business reps among the foreign participants. There was a separate event planned outside of the framework where the Ukrainian business associations united and had some sudden discussions on the country's recovery. So these two processes are parallel at the moment, unfortunately, but we will need to combine them. First of all, there's the institutional, the governmental vision, and the other one is the vision of business, and we need to coordinate these two. And Lugano conference was beneficial in this direction for us to catch all of the discrepancies and to fix any issues. So that's it. Can you hear me, Mr. Natalukha? Yes. The next question is, the government evaluates the losses by the Russian occupation as $7 billion of dollars. How does Ukraine plan to find this budget? Who will manage this process? I actually think that it will be over $1 trillion of dollars, and that's gives us an evidential fact that we'll need to spend more and more in the recovery. We will need, of course, the international help. We don't want this to be charity. We are ready to be a full-scale partner for our Western partners for their investments to be brought to specific industry sectors and to be beneficial to everybody. So we need to create a partnership organization, to coordinate that. So please continue. Who is going to manage that? Of course, that should be Ukrainian government, because we are speaking about our country and our people are losing their lives and our infrastructure is being destroyed. So it would be justified for the Ukrainian government to manage and to govern the process. I think it's an obvious thing and not a point for the discussion. Of course, what we need to include the representatives of strategic partners and representatives of the international financial bodies and institutions for them to clearly understand how and where the budgets and costs are allocated, for us to avoid any red tape or bureaucracy related to reports and everything. If they are a part of this process, I think we'll be able to avoid and to accelerate the process. What objects and infrastructure sectors have the priority for the recovery? What's the number one? I think that everything that requires investment could be grouped into three parts, and that would be priority as well. Number one is things that would help us to stop the war as soon as possible. This is munitions manufacturing, weapons, and defense industry. Everything that could help our army, our fighters on the front lines. This is priority number one. So this is creations of drones, UAVs, and everything like that. Number two, these are all the things that could help improve the lives of those Ukrainians who suffered from the results of war, who lost their homes, cars, vehicles, who had to be relocated. This is basic water, sewages, and so on and so forth. This is priority number two that could help our citizens to start and to go back to normal life regardless of all of their losses. And priority number three, this is scaling the investment potential, investment into the spheres that generated the majority of income to Ukraine. This is agriculture, metallurgic sphere, and machine building. These are strategic investments where large international and transnational companies could invest into and could take a kind of a niche there. In Ukraine, the official rate has just been changed and updated. What can we expect to be the economic impact of that? So I prefer a more prognosed and better forecasted changes to the currency rate, because economy is closely related to being able to forecast the results of your activities, and it depends on the hryvnia's exchange rate for the next 1, 2, or 3 months. So when we have increase that is a unexpected one, that's a shock to the economy, because people who kept working sometimes could decide on relocation. So first and foremost, I think it's not about the exchange rate, but for the National Bank of Ukraine to communicate with the Ukrainian market representatives better, to announce their decisions in advance, and for us to learn about National Bank's decisions in advance, not after the decisions were made and implemented. This way, business can prepare to any changes in the exchange rates, in the monetary strategies, because they have a really important impact on the economy. What do you expect in the budgeting for 2023? Well, it's hard to expect something, because um, today we don't have enough funds in Ukraine, or as much funds as we'd like to, and I think we need to speak about employment, those industries that create workplaces, and we need to direct the budget. Funds and budget support should be allocated into the spheres that create new workplaces and support employment, because it's very important for us to keep people employed. It's much cheaper than to create new workplaces. That's number one. And secondly, preserving these jobs is preserving the whole companies and factories and the whole sectors of the economy. Thank you. That was Dmytro Natalukha, member of the Parliament, Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, and chair of Parliament's Economic Development Committee. That's the last briefing for today. Please have a look at our schedule, at our resources, and let's